today's message is entitled Chicken Soup for the Soul, Graduating Senior Edition. Well, we stood here and listened to 6 seniors declare from their brand new engraved Bibles their favorite scripture. I just appreciated what it meant for them to stand here and declare truth to us. And I wanted them to have their own day, and so that's what today is. You heard me use an example of Corrie ten Boom, the woman in Holland who was willing to give her life for what she believed in, to esteem others more highly than herself. This was a woman who also, prior to the occupation of Nazi Germany in Holland, taught young people, many of whom were on the spectrum. She said, "The best learning I had came from teaching." Bob Talbert said, "Teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts is best." I'm not going to give you the history of Chicken Soup for the Soul. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, just know a couple of motivational speakers started it, and so there was lots of bits and pieces in books, and now you can get dog food that's labeled chicken soup for the food, for the soul. It's amazing. So the first scripture, so here's what I'm going to do. So there's 6 scriptures. So I'm going to preach 6 sermons. So at 30 minutes apiece, that should be about, okay.
3 hours, no.
Avery used John 16:33 from the New King James Version. Scripture declares, "These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." I'm not going to say this every single time, but I was blown away by the scriptures they chose because every last one of them is fantastic. Peace is powerful. It's palatable. It's something every last one of us needs. No matter what comes in your life, no matter how things are going, we all need peace. Tribulation is inevitable. You might not want it, you might not like it, you might not desire it, but brothers and sisters, it's coming your way. So no matter how much you want peace, tribulation is headed your way. But thankfully, victory is inevitable. This text reminds us that no matter what you find yourself facing, you don't have to live a defeated life. You can live a victorious life because you're on the right team. And it's not our job to win. All we have to do is be on the right team. Can you imagine being on the bench of the team that won whatever it was, the series, the game? You didn't even have to get in the game. You might not have even had to suit up. All you had to do was be on the team. Jesus did all the work necessary at Calvary, and all we have to do is accept him into our hearts, and pow, we're on the winning team. So So don't ever let life get you so down that you don't have peace. And let the tribulations overcome you, because they're coming. And even when they're here, know that you're on the side of victory. Kind of laugh when I think about some of those commercials talking about, man, we really need a home run right now. Derek, you're in. No, I mean Jeter. It's kind of obvious. You knew I was going to go there with the Yankees. Hello? Anyway, it's just exciting to know that we are on the victorious team. I'm going to use an example where you can laugh at me yet again, that the scripture reminded me of. So I used to ride motorcycles exclusively. At one point, I didn't even have 4 wheels. I only had 2 wheels, much to my mother's chagrin. There was a time when I was riding with a big giant backpack. It was a sports bike. It was the first bike I ever bought. Bought it used. And I put my backpack on the bike. It was all loaded up. My mom had tears in her eyes. She was like, "My baby," you know, all this stuff. Got on the bike, took off. It was some ridiculous hour in the morning before the sun had even arisen. I got about 3/4 of a mile from the house. And the bike cut off. I'm trying everything I can to start. The bike won't start. I'm at the top of the hill. I'm less than a mile from the house. They can't see me. I'm going through it. Time is going by. It's just a struggle. I cannot figure out what. Battery's got power. It'll crank. If I had to, I'd be able to push it and bump start it. It won't start. The tank is full of gas. I know I filled it up the day before in preparation of being able. You got it. This is an old school bike. And I don't know why my wife is so fond of laughing at me. This is an old school bike where the fuel valve has 3 positions. Off is in the middle, on is at the top, reserve is at the bottom. I've used up all the fuel in the line, and I had not put it on. So even though it seemed like I was out of gas, and you know I wasn't walking back home to say anything. You know I wasn't getting ready to do that. And I think so often as believers, we forget that we're on the victorious team and that Jesus has done all the work. And this scripture reminds me, sometimes it's as simple as just recognizing that you need to be properly aligned. And when you do that, you can make it far. Thank you, Avery, for John 16:33. Chloe gave us Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Once again, a great scripture. God deserves our dedication. Why wouldn't we commit to him? He is so deserving of everything we have to offer. Submission to the sovereign is smart. You don't have to. Nobody has to choose him. But not only should we be dedicated to God because it's well deserved, but we should submit to the sovereign because that's just a smart thing to do. If you place your plans in his hands, they will prosper. I don't have time to get into what wisdom literature is, and it is not always absolutely straight line literal to give you an understanding that this is a biblical promise. This is a principle. And it's something that you can stand on. And it's something that if you will commit to the Lord, he will establish your plans. As a matter of fact, he ought to affect your plans. I like this example. Just in case we have anybody here who's ever ridden a horse. Horses are incredibly intuitive. They're smart. And when you get on a horse, please don't ride scared. That's not going to end well. The first time I ever rode a horse into an ocean, it was a scary thought to consider this gargantuan beast is going to have me on top. I'm comfortable swimming, but that's not my job. I'm riding. And it's very interesting because when the horse gets into the water, they just do everything. They handle it all. All you have to be is committed to hold on. And the horse is committed to doing everything else that needs to be done. It's actually a wonderful ride. It's refreshing. It's exciting. If you've never done it, I want to encourage you to do it, but just don't do it scared. I'm just saying you need to be committed, and that's how we need to be committed to God in such a way that we stop trying to run him and let him run whatever comes our way. Amen. I don't need to try to tell the horse, go this way, go that way. The horse has got it. Thank you, Colton, for Proverbs 16:3. Colton gave us Ecclesiastes 3:1. Out of the New King James Version, it says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Brothers and sisters, timing does matter. It matters when you do what you do. It matters how you choose to do things. Trust matters. I want to encourage you to fulfill his purpose while you can. This is a weird example to use while I see some of you fanning yourselves in the Texas heat, even though it's only May. I grew up in New York State, and the same places that were water would freeze over so hard that you could, without a dime in your pocket, pick the right place, play ice hockey in a place that you would normally swim. My dad had a screwdriver that was like this long. And when you could drive that screwdriver down on a body of water, pull it out, and the water would come out, then it was cool to get on and we could skate and have an absolutely great time. But you can't play ice hockey in May anywhere in the States that I know of. It's all about the right timing. You also don't want to try to swim when it's below freezing. That's not comfortable. So what we do when it's appropriate to do it, and how we do it. And it's done, of course, under heaven. Thank you, Colton. Jason gave us Proverbs 23:18. Surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off. That's the New Revised Standard Version. Believe past today. I'm excited that we've got these seniors that told us what they were getting ready to do. They understand that today is wonderful, but you got to believe past today. It's so good to know who holds tomorrow. We don't hold tomorrow, but we know who holds tomorrow. All you have to do is just let him hold your hand. If you remember being a child, when mom and daddy would hold your hand, you don't have to know where you're going. Just hold on. Hang on for the ride. For those of you who are Peanuts fans, Lucy used to always get Linus to do stuff for her. She was kind of bossy. And she, okay, yeah, I can take the kind of out of there. She was bossy. She told Linus to go get her a cup of water. And he's like, you never do anything for me. You always want me to do stuff for you. Hey, and he said, okay, I'll bake you a cake for your 75th birthday. So Linus went and got her the water. And he said, surely there's a future. He said, how exciting it is to know that you have something to hope for and trust in the future. I mean, they're little kids. The ideal weight is really 75, that's kind of a long time, but it made him go get the water. We don't have to know when God is gonna do, what he's gonna do, how he's gonna do. He promised to come back soon. We don't know when soon is, but just wait. Thank you for that scripture. Ryan gave us Deuteronomy 31 and 6. Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord your God, he is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Brothers and sisters, choose strength and courage. Avoid fear and frailty. Know that God is both present and he's powerful. This is a lot to unpack, so since it's just chicken soup for the soul, I'm going to run right to what we can do with this. On April 12th, 1989, Ray Blankenship got the Coast Guard Silver Medal for saving a life. He was in his house in the summertime, looked out the window, saw a little girl in Ohio going down the river. He knew that there was danger up ahead. He ran outside. He ran alongside of the river in an effort to try to save her. He couldn't catch her. He couldn't get to her. So he just jumped in the water, found his way to her, grabbed onto her, held onto her, and just before they got to the danger, he found a rock or a piece of tree, held onto it, and as he held onto her, at first they were waiting to be rescued by somebody that would come along, and he ended up being able to get her out of the water before fire and rescue came. Might not seem like that big a deal until you come to know he jumped in the water to save this little girl who didn't know how to swim. We don't have to know how to swim. We don't have to know how to make it. We don't have to know what it is to do in life. We can simply have faith, jump all the way in and trust God to be able to handle whatever it is we can't handle on our own. We can be strong and have good courage in this life. Even though he's not here at the moment, Ty gave us Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Know who you are. Believe in his ability and stand in his strength. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. That's an affirmation worth telling yourself every single day that you get up. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. You don't have to know how you're going to make it. You don't have to know how you're going to be able to get through the day. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. You don't have to have the strength. He's got it. You don't have to be able to make it. He can help you. You don't have to be able to work it out. God can do what you can. Two mothers heard the cries of a child who was hit by a car. And as the car lay on top of him, there was nobody to come help. And two mothers in the United Kingdom summoned strength that they did not have and were able to lift a car off a child who ended up with nothing more than a broken leg and a bruised ego. Because they did what this verse says we can do. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Whether it's to get a pilot's license, whether it's to get your bachelor's, to go on to help people to become a mechanical engineer, whatever it is that God would have you do, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. He did all the work necessary on the cross for us to go from a life of failure to a life of fulfillment. We have the ability to stand in his power and do what others cannot understand. All you have to do is accept him, walk in your walk with him, and he's got you. Thank you, seniors, for making me bawl my eyes out in appreciation for what it is that God has done, is doing, and will do in your lives. We're so proud of you. We're so appreciative of the fact that the gifts God has given you, you're already sharing with the kingdom. Don't let anybody take your joy away.